40 X-Men statues in the X collection, and today we're going to count them down from best to worst.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Welcome to the Xtreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're looking at all the X-Men statues I have and ranking them from worst to best. Now before we do that, we are doing a statue giveaway. We're giving away these two Venom statues right here. If you're interested to find out how to win these, make sure to hit the like button right now and then wait till the end of the video and I will tell you how. So I currently have about 40 X-Men statues in the X collection and about 20 more coming. And recently I did a video regarding my favorite Wolverine statues. If you missed it, you can check it out right here. For the purpose of today's video, we're not going to include any Wolverine statues but one. And you'll see why, because it's more of a Colossus piece than a Wolverine piece. So none of those Wolverine statues are in these 40 statues. Also, today we are not going to talk about the incoming X-Men statues I have, because there's about 25 more, and this video would it would be way too long.
That's what she said.
Then I also had a few loosely related X-Men statues that some people would consider they're directly related, some people would not. So first I want to talk about those, but these are not in the ranking. So let's dive right into those. Again, they are not in the ranking, but they are loosely associated with X-Men. So let's just start with some Deadpools. I do have a custom 1/4 scale Deadpool on Throne. This is where he kills the universe, tons of body parts from all types of Marvel characters. He is not in the ranking. And with Deadpool, I also have a Deadpool Heat Seeker. This is the 1/4 scale premium format from Sideshow that I am actually launching a review on. I filmed it, so I don't know if it'll launch before or after this. Not included in the ranking. And the female counterpart to that is the Lady Deadpool, which I also recently filmed the review. Another cool piece. Could be X-Men related, could not. And a fourth Deadpool piece is the X-Force Deadpool premium format. Again, we're not including that in the ranking, but it is a piece in the Xtreme collection. And the last Deadpool is this custom 1/4 scale Deadliest Mercenaries Deadpool vs. Assassins diorama. I think I'm going to review this pretty soon, as we're waiting on all the things from the Contivada virus to ship from China. Then there's also 3 Phoenix 5 or Phoenix Force pieces that are loosely associated with X-Men. The first is this Cyclops, which I have done a review on, but we're not going to include him in the rankings. Then, of course, the Magic piece. And the most recent, Namor. So those are pieces I'm not including in the ranking. I do have 31 other statues that we are going to start from 31 all the way down to 1. And as a reminder, I'm looking at these as this is my favorite. I like this one better than that one. And it could be for any reason. Maybe the paint is really amazing. Maybe I just like the concept. Maybe I have more ties to the character. As a reminder, there's only going to be one Wolverine statue in here. It is not the best Wolverine statue, but it's more because it focuses on Colossus a little bit. And this list could change hour to hour. So let's dive right in. So our first one I actually forgot about. This is number 32. This is a custom 1/4 scale, even though it looks more like a 1/3 scale, Onslaught. I actually won this in a raffle. It cost me like 50 bucks to get in, and I won this $800 statue. It is a very nice piece. I just think it lacks a lot of detail, hence my ranking. This 1/4 scale custom Apocalypse statue. This is my least favorite one. I still like it. Just because it's my least favorite doesn't mean I don't like it. The ones I really don't like, I don't own anymore. But this is my best Apocalypse that I currently have as far as not in a throne, because you will see an Apocalypse on throne. But it's a pretty cool piece. Tons of different switch outs. Number 30 ranked in with the Iron Studios Professor X. While this is a really cool piece, I think the fact that it is much smaller scale than anything else really knocked it down in my opinion. So it's not one I have a ton of ties to. I can't wait to see the XM Studios 1/4 scale, which will come out hopefully in the next year or so. Number 29 is that Wolverine piece I was alluding to. It is the Fastball Special that has Colossus throwing Wolverine. This was in my X-Men countdown, and I'm sure some of the other Wolverine statues would have been in the top 10, but as I said, we're not looking at them today. 28 is XM Studios Mystique. And I'm speculating the reason why this is so low on the list is because it is overscaled and it doesn't really showcase her powers. The paint and sculpt are done very well, but I think there's some better options for Mystique, which you'll see later in the countdown. 27 is the Chibi X-Men diorama. Now, interesting, this is an awesome piece, but I think one of the reasons it fell lower in my list that was based off my opinion is the fact it really doesn't go with anything else. It's kind of a standalone piece. If you only had 1 or 2 X-Men pieces, I think this would be fantastic. But when you have 40 of them, it's not really necessarily one of the top ones. Number 26 is one of the 3 Juggernauts I have, and I used to love this piece, but the detail just isn't there on it. The concept is awesome, the size, the presence, the pose. I absolutely love those. The fact that part of it's mixed media that's deteriorating is an issue. And if you look really close, especially compared to some other Juggernauts we're going to look at, it just doesn't take the cake. Number 25 is a piece I recently did an overview, and this was hard for me because I don't have one that's completely repaired yet. As if you watch that video, you can actually check it out here. It's just an overview because I had some shipping issues, but it is number 25. It just isn't jumping out at me as much as some of the other pieces are. And this is definitely one that could change in score from day to day. Custom 1/4 scale Psylocke. Now the thing about this piece is the Sentinel head is the best part. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And the Psylocke is just okay. So I think if the Psylocke would have been better, it would have ranked much higher, but number 24 is this custom 1/4 scale Psylocke, followed by a custom 1/4 scale Cyclops. This one gets a lot of hate, and I do enjoy this piece. I like it a lot. I have another Cyclops you're going to see later in the list, but it's pretty neat. I think the base is a little bit too big. There were some paint issues with it, but definitely a cool piece to have in the collection. Number 22 is a custom Jubilee. It's one of the few Jubilee statues out there, and this one is versus Sentinel. It ties really well with the rest of my collection, which is why I like it so much. Now that I'm actually reading through this list, I probably would have ranked this a little bit higher, but I made the list an hour or 2 ago, and it's going to stick there.
That's what she said!
Number 21 is another piece that probably should have ranked higher, but it is a custom 1/4 scale Sabretooth. I recently got this in, really neat piece, and I think one of the reasons it's maybe a little bit lower is it's your standard Sabretooth. While it is very, very good, it's just not anything amazing or out of the ordinary. Number 20 is this Sinister on Throne. It's 1/4 scale, it's custom. The reason it didn't rank higher, I'm thinking, is because it just doesn't have the wow factor to me, even though it is the coolest 1/4 scale Mr. Sinister out there. There's not a lot of Mr. Sinisters. This one is on a throne, which is a huge plus for me because I love throne pieces, but I'm going to put it in at number 20. Number 19 is the Sideshow exclusive Mystique. I really like this piece. I like it a lot better than XM. I am going to sell the XM and just keep this one. Don't message me. Actually, you can message me if you want. I don't know if I'm ready to sell it, but I like this piece. I think Sideshow did a good job. It's definitely worth noting. Right now, it's the Mystique to have in your collection, in my opinion. Number 18 is XM Studios Cable. This is the only Cable statue I own. I think there is a better Cable statue out there, but I didn't pull the trigger because I have this one and I do like it a lot. I have a few custom accessories on it that I put in the review, so you can go check that out. But it is neat. It's more of a humanistic take, so it's not very comic accurate, but that is not as important to me. 17 is a custom repainted Magneto. This is 1/4 scale. I had him repainted black. So there's only 2 or 3 in the world like this, which makes it really unique and really cool. But unfortunately, with so many different Magneto statues, I think that there are actually better ones out there. One of the better ones out there, is actually one I forgot about. So we're going to stick him in right here, tied with number 17, is this custom Magneto Age of Apocalypse. So we have 2 17s. But it's pretty neat. I like it a lot. It's simplistic, but it pulls off what you want it to, so I think that is really, really cool. Number 16 is this custom Juggernaut. This is an interesting piece. There's a lot of controversy about it. There's only 15 made in the world. I personally like it a lot. A lot of people don't like it because it too closely resembles the movie from X3, I think it was, or whichever movie that was. It was not meant to do that. But I still think it's a cool piece. The portrait is not my favorite. That's why it is ranked a little bit lower on the list. Number 15 is one of the custom Icemen that I have. This piece is really neat. Again, it's simplistic, but complicated at the same time. It shows Iceman. I actually have 2 other custom Icemans coming and another one on this list. So surely one of those won't make the cut in the end, but it is a very neat piece. Number 14 is by Sideshow. It's their premium format X23 exclusive. I love this piece. I have X23 and 2 of the Wolverine dials. This is my favorite of those 3 by far. I know there's a new custom one coming out soon that looks like it could do better than this. I actually think it goes up for PO the day I'm filming this. But I think I'm going to stick with her. I don't like how small the Sentinel hand is scaled, just like the Wolverine, but I think the paint and sculpt on X23 is awesome. 13 is XM Dark Phoenix. This was disappointed by me. This was a disappointment to me. A lot of people were raving how great it was. I got it. It is a very good statue, but it's not a top 10. It is the best Dark Phoenix out there, but again, you don't have a lot of choices. I like a lot of the stuff they did, but the sculpt and the paint left a little bit wanting. I think the concept's amazing though. Number 12 is the XM Studios Magneto on Throne, and this would be in the top 5 if it was scaled correctly. It is not scaled correctly. It is not 1/4 scale like it stouts. It's probably a 1 and 5.5, so a tiny bit smaller than it should be, which is a disappointment, but that doesn't take away from the awesome concept, the awesome paint, the awesome sculpt. So it rings in at number 12. And I think their new Magneto from XM Studios, the white Magneto, actually beats it. I think that's number 11. I've never done a true review on this. I just did a comparison video. One day I should do a true review. I think it's a fantastic piece. I love the floating effect. I love the carnage he's creating with all the metal around him. Well done by XM Studios. Now we're moving into the top 10, and what I want you to do is comment right now if I haven't said your top 10 yet. So if you have one that should be in the top 10, comment right now before I get to it. Let's go. Number 10, I think, is Sideshow Juggernaut Maquette. This piece is awesome. A few negatives. One of the negatives, I don't like that the fact you have to put the metal pieces in his knees and arms. I think those should have been removable. Also, because he's lurched over, he's not as tall as he should be. I think that's kind of a negative, but the rest of it, the paint, the sculpt, is really awesome. It shows his power. Very, very cool piece. Number 9 is the custom Apocalypse on Throne. This is a 1/4 scale. It's slightly bigger than that, but Apocalypse is a big guy. I love this piece. It has his heritage to it. It shows his power. It's a take on a comic version. Very well done. Number 8 is a custom Psylocke vs. Sentinel. So I like this piece a lot. The head sculpts, I think some of the paint could have been better, but I love the concept. It shows her powers. I'm not a big fan of, sexy and sultry statues, but I like how it was pulled off on this one. Very, very cool piece. And also in that same line by the same custom group is their custom Iceman vs. Sentinel hand. And this one had tons of controversy and drama around it, and I love it. I think it showcases Iceman's powers like no one else has. I think it's the most ambitious project ever done. It's not a huge deal to me that the Sentinel hand is iced through, but I love it. I think it's a great piece. That's why it makes number 7. Number 6 for me is Sideshow's Rogue Maquette. The paint and sculpt on this knock it out of the park. It shows her power flying. It shows her strength. I love both portraits on the exclusive and the regular. And what's interesting is I have 2 other rogues coming in, so I want to see how they stack up. One actually comes in very shortly after I film this, and then the other one about a month after I film this, both custom. But looking forward to comparing her to them. Number 5, I don't think will ever be beat. It is XM Studios Storm. Coolest Storm out there. The base, the pose, the paint and sculpt are both good. They're not the best, but they're very good. I'm a big fan of this piece. I've actually added some plastic lightning bolts to her hand, but this is one of the best statues out there, and I think the fact it has a low ES really helps with that. Number 4 is a custom Cyclops vs. Sentinel hand. This is awesome. It makes Cyclops look like a badass. I know a lot of people are huge fans of Cyclops, but I'm even a bigger fan after this one. There was some paint issues with the portrait a little bit. That might have excelled it to number 2 or so on the list if that was fixed, which that's an easy repaint fix. But the dynamics of this, it is just awesome. And I think the Sentinel hand on these pieces is scaled correctly. Number 3 is a custom Beast for Sentinel. I think this is awesome. It was the first piece that this commission group came out with. I have tons of pieces from this group. This is their best one by far. It shows the raw beast savagery. I just love it. I think that it's going to be hard to beat, but some other ones will definitely give it a run for its money, but I put it as number 3 in my X-Men collection. So now we're down to number 2, and most people will guess that this was actually my number 1, and it's not. But this one is one of my favorites. It is the custom Magneto vs. Sentinel. This piece is awesome. I will never sell it. It is one of the most expensive pieces I ever bought because this was actually the prototype. And I don't regret it for one day. It's been professionally painted. It's one of my top 5 characters. It showcases his power. It has a huge base, which takes away from the character until you look at the character. Then the character is awesome as well. Love it. Switch outs are awesome. Probably will never part with this piece. That brings us to number 1. And what's ironic about number 1 is it's not one of my top 5 favorite characters. He's probably favorite character number 6. And what's ironic is I have another statue of this character, I have another one I've sold, and I have another one on pre-order. But I don't think they're going to beat this one. I think this is the best that we'll ever make. While the design and concept of him is very simple, it is exactly what I want out of the character, but the sculpt and paint just take it to a new level. So my number 1 favorite X-Men piece in my collection is this custom 1/4 scale Sabretooth. This came only as a kit, so I had it professionally painted, which is why the paint looks a little bit better and ranks it a little bit higher, I think, but the sculpt is just out of this world. I do have a brown Wolverine counterpart from this same producer and sculptor on order as well, so I can't wait to put them next to each other. It's going to be a woody base just like that. Very, very cool, but definitely my number 1. So those are my top favorite X-Men statues minus the Wolverines. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite one was, whether it was on my list or if it's one that's not on the list at all. In the meantime, if you want to win those Venom statues, first thing you have to do is like this video if you have not already. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you hit that bell notification. That's it. Then when we hit 10,000 subs, we're going to launch a video with more details. Until then, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.